Here.
Deborah Russell,
Here.
Indigo Vu.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, invisible, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May be seated. Okay, we start with public comment. Okay, at this time, members of the public may address the Arts and Cultural Commission regarding the non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the committee. No action may be taken on non-agenda items unless authorized by law. Who's going to be the timekeeper at 3 minutes in case somebody passes? Secretary, are you?
Yes, I am.
He has it. Just be on top of that so we have an efficient meeting here, okay?
Okay.
Does the public have any comments they wish to share with the commission? Please know that you have 3 minutes to speak. Move forward. Public comment.
Public comments, if you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and speak.
Yes, hello. My hand's been raised. It looks like there's a few other people with their hand raised as well.
Yes, I'm gonna go one by one. Thank you. Go ahead, Victor.
How you doing? This is Victor Payan, Director of Media Arts Santa Ana. Let me get a little closer here. I am not in San Francisco. I'm in Santa Ana right now. And I wanted to talk about a couple things. One is the Dia del Niño. OC Dia del Niño is starting on Monday, and we're going to go through the 25th with the Imaginology, and then we're going to go through July 31st, and on April 30th, when the event is celebrated internationally, we're going to do a series of events and kind of a second launch in Spanish with the consulate with some more special events. We're working with about a dozen Santa Ana artists and arts organizations, including theater and dance from and music from Santa Ana High School and Henninger. But I also wanted to talk about that. OCDiadelNino.org is where you can find all the videos starting Monday at 10 a.m. Please spread the word. But I also want to talk about the agenda on the Arts Commission. I sent an email and I'll read it here. I hope it's disseminated to you all. I'm writing regarding today's Arts Commission discussion of the Santa Ana Art Walk. Since Downtown Inc. has indicated that they are ceasing support of the Art Walk now that the city has reduced their funding, it's a good time to reassess this relationship and to convene a task force of Santa Ana resident arts leaders to envision new possibilities, needs, and leadership of the Art Walk. The Art Walk, as led by Downtown Inc., does not deliver on the city's commitment to inclusion and equity because DTI discriminates against artists who publicly disagree with Downtown Inc. or the gentrification of Santa Ana. This creates an operation that at its heart prevents and discourages diversity of vision and gentrification. And we know that critics are gaslighted and that they don't pay the SAUSD performers, the students. So they make a lot of publicity about that, but I just heard that they don't get paid. So the district is paying for that, not Downtown Inc. I'm requesting a task force be convened to meet with the Arts Commission to provide input on how we can create an art walk that is truly inclusive and truly serves the cultural and professional needs of Santa Ana's artists and residents. The task force should be made up of artists who live and or were raised in Santa Ana and include the following individuals and groups who all have extensive arts event creation, curation, and festival experience. I ask myself, I'm experienced founder of Media Arts Santa Ana, the OC Film Fiesta, been a member of the Chicano Park Steering Committee, and I'm an arts diversity consultant, and I worked with the National Association of Latino Arts and Cultures. Pocha Peña, whose experience is also co-founder of Media Arts Santa Ana and the OC Film Fiesta, co-founder of United Artists of Santa Ana, owner of Pocharte Gallery in the Santora building, and a former Santa Ana Arts Commissioner and current Historical Resources Commissioner. Rudy Cordova, whose experience includes Café Calacas, the Viva la Vida Festival, and Lucha Palooza, big community festivals. The Centro Cultural de Mexico, that doesn't Noche de Altar, is one of the largest Day of the Dead celebrations in the state. Skis DeWine, who is an Art Walk founder, owner of the smallest gallery in the world from Santora. Carolyn Torres from the school board, and Kilson Street, who are local music promoters. Thank you. I look forward to hearing from you and the Arts Commission on this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Right on time. We have Skeeth.
I'm trying to figure out, okay, start video. Let's see.
I got it.
Okay,
You're good to go.
you got it? All right. So my understanding is that you're going to discontinue the Santa Ana Art Walk. And I and my friends, a small group of us back in 1994-95 were the creators of the Art Walk. I poured in over 25 years of time, energy, and effort with my friends, reached out to just about every major newspaper and news media outlet in that time period to make sure the Art Walk would happen. I was disappointed when Downtown Inc. Absconded with the Art Walk because they turned it into a big party. Suddenly it became a big bar event, and that's not what I wanted or any of my friends. We originally started out in French Park with the Jazz Festival. It was a runaway success, and we watched Santa Ana take the Jazz Festival over to the museum. I mean, not the museum, but the Wild Animal Park. So they took that away from us. Then they took away the Artist Walk. And then you guys turned it into a big bar crawl party, fiesta. And that led to children and kids getting killed out in the streets of Santa Ana. I've been very disappointed. I invested so much of my life into Santa Ana. In addition, I watched my own art studio and arts complex over by the train station directly across the street, the eminent domain for Section 8 housing, when it housed 20 artists. Every single turn and corner, I have watched Santa Ana let myself and my friends down. You have never even once acknowledged all of our hard work that we put into the city and brought Santa Ana back from the grave. Nobody wanted to be in Santa Ana back in 1995 to 99. Everybody said we need to bulldoze and tear down the downtown district. We worked our butts off to bring it back to life. And so now suddenly I see, oh, you know what? We don't have any time, any energy, any effort, or any money for the downtown Santa Ana Arts Walk. But guess what? The Arts Walk, my friends, our energy, our blood, sweat, and tears brought Santa Ana back to life. We provided so much opportunity for so many restaurants, so many business owners. We made it a family-oriented environment. And then you guys took it away from us and made it a party bar thing. I'm really disappointed right now. Like, I'm livid. And wait till you see when I hit the newspapers what I'm going to say.
Excuse me, but we have a time limit. Who's on my time? Hello, my secretary, are you there?
Music School.
Yes, that is me. I'm trying to get my video started. Or not, I can just talk. My name is Brianna. I'm a teaching artist here in Orange County. I have been organizing arts and music programming in Santa Ana and specifically downtown for a handful of years now. And I'm actually here to make a public comment asking about where investing in the arts grant is for 2021. There was a big political campaign and position to save that grant last July, and I haven't seen anything from it. In fact, online, the most recent notifications I can find about it is from 2019. So as someone who's been working in the arts for a few years and helped save that grant, I would love to know where it is. And it also kind of doubles with a lot of the anger I'm seeing right now about the lack of money for Art Walk. And it seems like different organizations are being blamed for where that money is going. And I think the main problem is within the city and city council and where all our funding is going. So I think if we all worked a little bit harder together to focus on where our money is coming from and how to best support the arts towards the city and city council, that would be great. And also, again, investing in the arts grants. I've been working with that grant for quite some time, and I would love to further continue working with it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Give me 1 second. Let me get the other person. Pocha, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to start the video. Okay, got it. Hey, everybody. So I'm Sandra Bochapena, and I'm a Santa Ana resident and also a Santa Ana artist. And I wanted to comment on Santa Ana Art Walk. Our downtown Santa Ana Art Walk is over 20 years old. It was started by independent groups of artists like Skeet DeWine, who you just heard from, Randy Au, and other Santa Ana resident artists. It's one of Southern California's oldest continuous art walks, predating the one in Pomona, the one in downtown Los Angeles. And our art walk would greatly benefit Santa Ana even more by showcasing artists and art and culture from all 6 wards. By partnering with local cultural organizations in each ward. It could also involve our school district, SAUSD, in a more collaborative capacity instead of just filling a time slot, you know, in performances. And there are 12 months to the year, so that gives us 2 months each to showcase each of our wards. Some potential community partners include the Heritage Museum and the Observatory in Ward 6, which is represented by Councilwoman Nelida Mendoza and Councilwoman Tai Viet Pham, OSHA and the SAC Gallery, OCTAC and the Bowers Museum over in Ward 3, which is represented by Councilwoman Jessie Lopez, Magic, the African American Collective, Roses in the Concrete, represented, and others represented in Ward 5 by Councilman Jonathan Hernandez. And there's so many arts and culture groups in every ward. This would be a great opportunity to make it really egalitarian and actually equitable instead of having it just one cluster of folks. Santa Ana College could also be included. They have a great mural and art program. All the senior centers have art programs. Also, we have ethnic organizations like Vala and the Cambodian Family, and they have wonderful arts and culture to share. We have a wonderful music groups, music organizations like Kilson Street and Curious Entertainment that also, produce musical events. They could get involved. And there's a whole list of organizations that have received city funding. So you can call upon those lists and those resident art groups to also collaborate. And of course, Santa Ana Unified has schools in every single ward. So every single ward, two times to showcase at Art Walk. It's a great opportunity to truly showcase our city. So I hope you all will give it consideration. I submitted some written comments, basically what I'm saying in writing to each of the commissioners. I hope you'll look that over and give it some consideration. And Art Walk should be free of gentrifying interests like Downtown Inc. and SABC, whose consultants paid collectively over $150,000 a year, on top of sucking up local resources, like taking the $400,000 from our latest YMCA sale, which is outside of the bid zone. So, they get the regular $100,000, and on top of that, just got $400,000 of public money that was not bid money. So, and now they want more money for Art Walk? That just doesn't make economic sense. So I'm really looking forward to hearing a cost breakdown, not just of Art Walk, but all the other programs, because it should cost $500,000 to service such a small area, which is our downtown, is not gigantic. And it certainly, I think there's a lot of waste there and misappropriation. So I hope you all consider the possibilities and the potential of Art Walk, which is an important city asset. Thank you.
Thank you, Pocha. Alicia Rojas.
Hi, I'm just waiting for my video.
There you are.
Buenas noches, good evening. Thank you, I'm Alicia Rojas, I'm a local artist. I'm also a Ward 1 resident, but I like to actually point out that as an artist, I don't believe in borders. I believe in supporting artists who serve our community from anywhere. And I think that's what Santana is about, no? But I'm a public artist too. I have done many murals in town, but tonight, as in the previous 2 Art Commission meetings, I am advocating for Art Walk, and I am here to advocate for community artists. I'm here to advocate for Jenny Bernal. When we founded Community when we founded United Artists of Santa Ana, there was just a few of us, and era de corazón, era de pasión. It was about what we could do together and about honoring these spaces and having room for local artists to still showcase and have a space to express themselves, to heal, and share community together. I'm here because I am concerned. This is something that we've always been concerned about, which has always been the budget for our walk. For the last decade, or maybe a little bit less, sorry, since 2012, maybe, Downtown Inc. has been in charge of the permit for our walk. Out of their $700,000 budget that they do get a year, they only allocate $5,000 a year for one of the biggest economic development night Santana has, right? It's not really about bringing in outside people also. That, of course, that happens because there's a lot of talent here, but it's mostly also about culture and friendship and community. And like Keith mentioned, and even Sandra, all local artists have actually made Art Walk happen for many, many years without the support of the city monetarily or any other budget. It has been self-sufficient. It's something that Frank pointed out in the previous meetings. But Downtown Inc. and the Santa Ana Business Council receive a stipend for Clean and Safe program that's $500,000 each. We have to think about these groups that represent this money or allocate this money when they're not even allocating 1%, not even 1% to artists and Art Walk. Just like the Santa Ana Business Council did many years ago, advocated for their own interest and wanted to break out of Downtown Inc. because they felt they were not being represented and their interests were not being represented. I think this is an amazing opportunity. It's a new renaissance, and it's about time that artists have their own representation outside of these special interests of the restaurants and the retailers. We need to respect creatives, and we need to make sure that we have a room at every table when our work is being utilized for this economic development. And that also it does create gentrification. And many of us are local and immigrant artists, and we try to bring in community and advocate for locals and outside of downtown, where there's a lot of art actually also happening. So I just want to thank you for your time, and I want to advocate again, like I did in the last two meetings, respectfully, for the Arts Commission to form an ad hoc committee so we can explore options of how Art Walk can be produced outside of these special interests. Because if you look at just what happened with COVID.
Alicia, I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
were lost and we were dropped by Downtown Inc. and Ryan Smolar, and we can't have them represent us anymore. It is time for the artists. It is our time, and we are here, and it's a great opportunity. And thank you. And I'm sorry for going over my time. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, everybody in there, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. We have Mauricio Hector Pineda. Go ahead, Hector. Excuse me, Mauricio. Mauricio, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
So, hola, yo soy Mauricio Hector Pineda. I'm here in my backyard in Santa Ana, McFadden Harbor. I am from Santa Ana, and I'm the new gallery director at SA Exhibitions, which is housed in the Santa Ana Arts Collective building. I appreciate hearing all your concerns about community and community engagement. I am here to hear you guys out, and I will respectfully just listen and learn your concerns. I do not want to add, or because I'm not specifically, I know what you guys are going through and the issues you're going through. I lived in San Francisco and in the Mission. So I just kind of want to listen and learn what you guys are talking about and your concerns as an artistic community. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to voice my opinion where my opinion is not necessarily yet solidified to your guys' issues and concerns. So I will just politely just introduce myself. So the gallery is open. It's a nonprofit. It's a site for exhibition. Right now, the exhibition that we're showing is Fresno artist, Professor Ricardo Rivera. The name of the exhibition is Sin Duda. It's a site exhibition. It's just video and drawings. After this, it's going to be Guillermo Galalindo, who is a artist out of Mexico City. So the goal of the site, SAE Exhibitions, is to bring artworks that normally the community outside of SAE, outside of the building, Santa Ana Arts Collective, but in hindsight, just to bring artists that the community would not have access to them. And while they're doing their installations, I am really excited that artists, teachers, so on Saturday, a local muralist is bringing his class. He's bringing 15 of his students, and we're going to have a discussion about art and site-specific art. So I'm excited to be part of your guys' voices and be back home and to add to the beautiful cultural landscape of Santa Ana.
Thank you, Mauricio.
That's it. Sorry.
Thank you. Andrea Harris,
Hello,
go ahead.
start my video. I think it's going to start any second. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't see you guys, but I'm really happy to be here in the meeting today. I just wanted to say that, as you know, I mentioned this in the last meeting you guys had, that I'm working on the mural mapping project here in Santa Ana and trying to organize a complete record with the assistance of a lot of incredible contributors from the city, artists, TRAM, and many others, to create a complete list of all the projects, public art, mural projects that we have in the city. And so I will be continuing to reach out to you and hoping that I will be able to meet up with you and collaborate on getting more information and creating this complete record. We're going to have a mapping project where actually there'll be a navigation to find all the artworks of the city, and we're going to be crediting the artists and making sure that we get as much complete information as possible in the database and for this new site I'm creating. And it is a labor of love. I know many people have started prior to me and have worked on, and so I'm going to be adding to that and bringing more to it, and also reaching out to you to help to contribute. So I'm putting together an email that's going to be sent out through TRAM, and it's going to go out to many people in the community so that you'll be able to reach me, and we'll be able to get together and brainstorm better ways to work together on these amazing projects, art-related projects for the city and cultural-related projects. I also wanted to mention that just listening to all the speakers so far who've come out today, you know, Santa Ana is an incredible city full of very passionate and intelligent people. You know, we put our heart and souls into the city, and we want to see the best for our artists, for our community, for our youth. And you hear the voices, you know, of people who've invested in the city for many years, and they're wanting to come together and have recognition and have progress made and create a plan that works to help realize some amazing projects and goals. And I just want to say that I would love to be a part of the vision. I'd love to be a part of working with you all to help realize some great things. I know many of you remember me from the past when I was directing Grand Central for about 10 years. I was there and I'm working with the community. But I live in the city. I've been here for 24 years and I want to continue to help in any way I can. So please feel free to reach out to me. I know that you'll be getting this email through TRAM that I'll be sending out. And I just want to thank everybody who spoke. I know you all and all that you've done for the city and invested in the city. And I really congratulate for your efforts. And I hope we can do a lot of good, continuing good for the city. I appreciate your time and thank you for letting me speak. Have a good day.
Thank you, Andrea. We have Erica Gonzalez. Go ahead.
Hi, how's it going? Good night. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. My name is Erica Gonzalez. I'm a lifelong Santanera. I'm in the Ward 6 area and in the Delhi neighborhood. And I am also part of a grassroots organization called Chicanx Unidex. I'm here today because I have been in the beginning when the Art Walk started back in the early, I would say even the early 2000s is when I started to attend. I loved it. I was always there. I was a regular. The atmosphere was amazing. It was awesome. Like the other speakers have said, it wasn't the same once Downtown Inc. and SABC took hold and took over it. So I'm here as part of Chicanos Unidos. We've been one of the loudest critics and longest critics of Downtown Inc. and their gentrification and their role in the gentrification of the downtown Santa Ana area. That's one area where, years ago, it was the epicenter of the city. It had a lot of cultura. It had the Art Walk that was the original artist that started it. And it was a great place to take family. And it was like I said, it was an epicenter of Santa Ana, and it slowly over the years was gentrified. And we saw that when, people who had, other interests outside of community came in, and they were the ones that were controlling something that was started by community to begin with. So I think it would be only fair to go ahead and let these organizations take the reins, because they're the ones who originally began the project. And I think it is essential to keep it in Santa Ana. Like I said, I was a big fan of it. I used to attend it all the time. But once, it did become like a big party, it was just all about, bar hopping, and all these different bars were popping up. None of them were sustainable because, the clientele is just not there for that type of bars and that type of atmosphere. And that's something that I think that we're seeing, especially in that downtown area. It's already in the 5th stage of gentrification, where we're soon going to see a ghost town. There's not going to be much there as time goes by because of all the gentrification that has happened in that area. So I would hate to see that happen in other areas of the city. So I think that having an ad hoc or some sort of oversight committee is something that's really, really important. And I think that would be the best way for us to take over this project. I really don't think that this should be a project that should be canceled. Just because those two organizations are not going to be able to be participating anymore when they were invested only for themselves and not for community. We saw time and time again, Pocha was saying, with their salaries and their executives were getting so much money, ridiculous amounts. We've seen the profit and loss statements, and there was also, they were under investigation as well. And they were found to not be working in the community's interest. So I think we need to look further into all of these things that have happened within the last few years. And I hope that this new commissioners and older commissioners really step up and work for the community. And I hope that you will. So thank you.
Thank you, Erica. One more person, Stephanie. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm here. Can you turn on my camera, please? There we go. Thank you. Hi, my name is Stephanie Butler, and I'm an art teacher in Irvine Unified, but I was born and raised in Santa Ana, and I'm coming to you from my kitchen at my house in Santa Ana. on Flower and McFadden. My kids and my husband and I, we love living here. And even if we have the opportunity to live anywhere else, we're sticking around in Santa Ana because we know that our city is valuable, because the culture that we have here is valuable. And part of the experience, our family as a minority in our very Latin neighborhood, if I can be frank, our experience is richer because we have a variety of people and neighbors and interests being met here. So I've exhibited at Art Walk. My dad has exhibited with me when he was still around here. And I want to advocate for the refunding of it. And I'm also want to advocate for seeing coming out of this pandemic as an opportunity for our city and for our artists. I'm an artist myself. Also, my husband is a Santa Ana writer, and he's a teacher here in Santa Ana. And we've also seen the power that the involvement of artists locally have had on our students here in Santa Ana. When I worked in Los Angeles, they were still talking about Santa Ana art community. And in Irvine, my kids who in Irvine don't have this kind of access, they come from out of town to see and be a part of our art scene here. So I'd like to advocate for a renewal of this. And I'd also like to volunteer if I can be a help in any way to do so. I'm here to listen, to learn, and also offer whatever services I can to keep our community thriving. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And we have John Spiak. Go ahead.
I just wanted to start my video there. Hello, I'm John Spiak, and I'm the current director and chief curator at Cal State Fullerton's Grand Central Art Center. A deep history in Santa Ana myself. Been running around the city since, well, before I could walk, since 1967. My grandparents lived on North Towner in what is now called Washington Square. My dad is a 1956 graduate of Santa Ana High School. I went to Santa Ana College as well as he did. And, you know, went to Coos when it was serving Chinese food back in the day with that amazing family that lived there, and rode ponies at Tucker's off 17th. And my dad always bought his car at the Chrysler dealer that's was right next to the fire station on 17th as well. So a deep history in this city, and I love this city. And that's why I came back in 2011 to fortunately hired as the director of Grand Central Art Center. I just want to provide a quick update on Grand Central. So we've been closed, as many of you know, but we've been doing a lot of virtual programming, and we have, as part of our consortium, an upcoming lecture with People's Kitchen Collective on April 29th at 5:30 p.m. That's free to the public. And we also have the Adjacent Possible, which is a virtual experience where you get to collectively create an orchestra together, a musical composition, and that's currently free to anybody around the world. And we've been doing a bunch of virtual projects during the pandemic. We are looking at a soft opening June 1st. We're working with the university because while the city has certain policies, the state has certain policies, the university has certain policies. And because we have students living on site, we have to follow kind of extraneous policies. So we're working on those policies and hoping to get up to a soft opening by June 1st and a harder opening by September with some new exhibitions and public programs. So we hope to be super active. And with that said, we are dying for the Art Walk to occur again. We think the individual that was really guiding, Yenny, who was guiding the direction and vision of that, has been doing an excellent job. The diversity of individuals, the performances that have been taking place there. She's on site. If there's any issues, we can find her coming out of Grand Central. And it's just been a joy to have so much community engaged with the Second Street Promenade, engaged with Grand Central. And we're here to help any way we can. We're here to collaborate. We're here to be a resource and to be part of the collective community and have dialogues about contemporary art and how we can all move forward together as a beautiful creative community. So thanks for your time, and I look forward to the presentations tonight.
Thank you, John. I don't see anyone else on the waiting list for speaking, so I think we can move forward. Oh, one more person, sorry. Angie Sanchez.
Sorry about that. Did my video cut out? Okay. All right, can you guys see me? Okay, hi. My name's Angie, and I'm from San Bernardino County, but I was born in Santa Ana. And my aunt actually introduced me to the art walk when I was like maybe 10 or 11. And it's something that I always looked forward to going to. And so it was only yesterday when she called me and said, hey, there's this meeting. I think you want to hear about it because they're closing it. And I just kind of couldn't believe it. So I'm here to just listen about it because I don't know exactly why it's being shut down. But I just wanted to say that I don't think it's something that people take for granted. If anything, it's something that I've introduced to my friends and other people, and we come from, you know, other counties and look forward to it every single month. And I really agree with the other artists about what they've been saying, that there should be a kind of committee of artists and the people who are who sustain it, because they're essentially the ones, you know, who draw people in. And I just think that Santa Ana is such a great place for art and culture, and the Art Walk is such an accessible thing for people who don't have access to other places that, for example, maybe in LA. And I'm just here to learn, and I just wanted to say that, you know, from my group, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie.
This ends public comment, am I correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Ending public comment, we're going to go into our consent calendar. This is the time for the commission to consider matters under consent calendar. Item number 1. Do I have a motion to consider item number 1? Do I have a second to consider motion item number 1?
I second.
But there has to be a
Second by who?
first. There has to be a
Who
first.
motion and who second?
Also move.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion? And we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Deborah.
Second? Okay. So we have a motion. All right, work study session. We have 2 work study sessions. Please note that there will be no motion or action taken on these items. I think everybody understands that at this point. The first item on the work study session calendar is Downtown Inc. presentation on Downtown Santa Ana Art Walk. The second item on the work study session calendar is Public Works Agency presentation on art for the South Main project. That being, I would imagine we could start with the presentation of our first work study by Downtown Inc. I would imagine Mr. Sommer is going to be the one who's going to lead that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
Can I start my video and have the share screen turned on, please?
Yes, give me 1 second, Ryan.
Sure.
Trying to find you. Hold on.
Do we have any time limitation on our presentation?
No,
Secretary?
not really, but I do suggest,
No?
you know,
I do.
Go ahead,
I do
Ryan.
suggest a decent amount of time.
Okay, I'm in. Good evening, everybody. Hello, commission, arts commission, staff, artists, community members. Good evening. My name is Ryan Smolar. I'm a placemaker at Downtown Inc. and I've been asked to give a presentation and update on the Art Walk. And so let's get that going without further ado. Okay, I'm hoping you can see my screen and you'll tell me if not otherwise. But as I said, I'm Ryan Smolar giving a presentation on the first Saturday Art Walk for Downtown Inc. Also representing a little bit Santa Ana Business Council because they're a huge partner of ours in all things and in Art Walk. So tonight I'm going to go through just introducing myself. We'll go through the Art Walk experience for those of us who maybe don't know it and none of us have been in a while. Just a little quick reminder video. We'll go over how the downtown bid groups contribute to the Art Walk. We'll talk about some of the challenges facing Art Walk right now. Why isn't Art Walk happening right this moment? We'll talk about that. And we will also talk about some of the opportunities for post-pandemic aware Art Walk. All right, so just a little bit about me. I actually come from up the road a little bit, Long Beach, and that's where I got involved in the arts. I actually got involved in downtowns and downtown management through the arts. I was an Artist Village neighborhood board member there with Dennis Huey, who was over there, but also over here at the Coos and the Yoast. Also, I produced arts and culture festivals there. The biggest one was $200,000 Arts and Culture Festival. I built the Long Beach Artists Registry for the Arts Council for Long Beach there. I wrote about arts and culture in the local newspapers there, and also the OC Weekly, some stuff there as well. I was a community engagement consultant for the Arts Council there under Craig Watson, who is the director and went on to be the director of the California Arts Council for several years and bring millions of dollars into the arts, and with his partnership with Rick Stein into OC Arts in particular. I also published 2 community anthologies there in Long Beach with the community, and I helped uncover and preserve a unique historic property, a 180-foot 1920s built tunnel that runs under downtown, that it was sealed up in 1967, and I opened it back up in 2007 for an event. And then my partner actually served in Long Beach as the chair of the Long Beach Redevelopment Agency's Public Arts Commission. So I've had a lot of experience in understanding how places like the Artist Village came to be through redevelopment funding and where they need to go without that funding, as it's been removed for several years now. And then just personally, my grandmother was an artist, a painter, my mom was a designer, and I've always identified as a creative, which I think is important to have arts people, like you say, working with and in the arts. I was recruited here to work with the Downtown Business Improvement District, actually by an arts organization in downtown, by Logan Crow of the Frida Cinema, who also got his start in Long Beach and did a lot there, and was able to always find ways to support Logan. And so he thought that I could be helpful here, working with the bid as a facilitator for arts funding, arts event activation, and different types of partnerships, and making things a little bit easier for artists to do work in the city. So I'm just gonna play a quick video that we shot back in 2015, right? Kind of when I got here. I started working here in 2014. And as mentioned, Downtown Inc. Had the permit at that time for the Art Walk. So just going around the Art Walk, actually with the Santa Ana College video crew, and we shot this video, which kind of shows the experience maybe at that time.
Have really unique people come here. A lot of the vendors are pretty unique and they come up with really creative ideas.
We drove from Camarillo, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes away.
I think I should come out because of supporting the community, supporting the vendors, supporting the artists. And it's a wonderful place to get out and just enjoy the evening.
I'm Stephen Anderson. I'm Executive Director of Orange County Center for Contemporary Art, and welcome to Chaos Theory. It's kind of a fundraiser show and a show that anybody can enter. There's 173 artists in the show, over 500 pieces of art. It's packed, everybody's having fun, so obviously it was a great turnout.
It's good for everyone to come down here so they can support all the local talent we have.
It's important to get out and support smaller artists. You're not going to find all these artists in galleries. You're going to find a lot of stuff that you wouldn't see online.
There's a lot of people that make really cool stuff that don't get recognized, and I feel like there's so much going on in the community, and like it's a good thing to do.
I think people should come down to the Art Walk to just check out new vendors, check out local brands, check out lots of awesome art. It's always a good mix of people.
I've never seen anything like this. When I came in, I came from everywhere. I came through Denver, I came through the mountain, I came through all. There's nowhere like Santa Ana, California.
Okay. So that seemed pretty great and something that we definitely wanted to invest in and get behind. And so I looked at, what do we do for Art Walk? We manage the Art Walk, we have the permits. So how does this all work, and how do we get involved? And over the years, a lot of different layers have been added to the Art Walk from that point. And so from the very beginning, what do we do for the Art Walk? So number one, as mentioned, we hold the special event permit. So every few months we get a permit from the city. We permit all the areas that want to be included in the Art Walk. So there's the promenade, but there's also been the Paseo, there's been the plaza. Some of these require different permits. And so we hold those permits, and we make sure that what's happening in public spaces, that we have the police know, the fire department knows, and that everything is set up so that things can occur within that framework. Also, all of that is insured. So everything that's occurring within the event framework of Art Walk has insurance against, incidentals and protecting everybody and all these types of things. And then there's sub permits. So let's say, for example, you want to have a fire show or something like that, a flamethrower people, that could have an additional fire permit that needs to be verified as well. The vendors on the promenade, each of the vendors has to have a business license, and that process used to be very complicated and cumbersome. And actually, through our work with the city and also with Yenny, the coordinator, and Jose, who's our operations guy, we've actually simplified that process for everybody so that people can get a one-time permit per year for, I think it's $25, and it's much more simple. At the base level, we provide a clean and safe police, fire, and waste coordination on the Art Walk. And I know that may sound kind of lame, but it is really critical and important. I can't tell you that every morning, the streets of Santa Ana are cleaned, graffiti's abated, there's power washing of the promenade. There were 5,000 calls for security needs last year. That was up from 2,500 calls the year before. There were 90,000 bags of trash pulled last year. That was up from 45,000 bags of trash pulled the year before. And that's with no budget increases. You're having double security calls, you're having double trash, and events contribute a lot to this. And so they're a big part of this infrastructure is these sub-level costs and coordination with police. If, for example, there's more people coming into an Art Walk, we adjust police numbers, we adjust security numbers. There's quite a bit of infrastructure going on in that level. And so it's definitely worth mentioning. Next is all of the marketing infrastructure. The Downtown Business Improvement District is really set up as a marketing account, and it's generated revenue from downtown to promote downtown. So we have a pretty big infrastructure with social media personnel, with websites for Art Walk, a website for Santa Ana Arts, our own downtown website, our newsletter that goes out every week that's professionally written, our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Art Walk is promoted through all of those mediums, which it's quite an extensive process because we have to ingest all the material and then we have to organize it, and then we have to distribute it effectively. So that's quite a huge piece as well. Then there's the infrastructure of, so, you know, when I got there, people would come to Art Walk and they'd come to one part of it and not know about another. They'd come to the Promenade, not know East End. They'd come to East End, not know West End. And so we invested in infrastructure like creating a map every single month with the specific content, because there's so many changes, like galleries coming in and out, pop-ups, one-time anniversaries, a business that's going to have a show and it doesn't next month. So instead of having just one map, we invested a lot of time and money in custom printing, creating a map every single month. And even so, you know, it's downtown's quite walkable, but people still, they don't know maybe to go a couple blocks this way or a couple blocks that way. And so we advocated for example, the downtown Art Walk trolley to run so that all the areas could be connected as well, so that people flow from different parts of downtown. Also, a very great infrastructure investment, it seemed, is documentation. And so for years, for 7 years now, we've had photographers, videographers, article writers documenting the Art Walk. We go around to every single gallery, try and shoot every single artist. We have an archive of even the galleries that are no longer here. And so hopefully it's a wishful project that one day to turn all this over to the history room, but we have 7 years of extreme documentation of the Art Walk, and primarily our vendors on this have been SAC Photography Club students who've been our helpers on that. We provide a front door support for those who wish to participate. I was hearing someone crunch around if I could mute, but we provide a front door support for those wishing to support or to participate in Art Walk. So whether you want to be a volunteer, you want to be an arts vendor, or you want to perform at Art Walk. Someone's eating.
Can someone please mute Skeeth?
Okay, sorry about that, folks. So we act as a front door to participating in Art Walk. This is from our Art Walk website, but let's say you want to be you're an arts vendor, you want to participate, you fill out a very simple form. The form comes into us, and then we distribute it to all of the event producers and hosts of different aspects of Art Walk. So as inquiries come in, they get forwarded to the entire Art Walk team, and so people can be sort of triage to where it's most likely that they'd be able to be fit in as soon as possible. Over 1,000 people have actually used this form to get in touch with us. I'm sorry, we also have forms for performances and for volunteering. And so if somebody wanted to perform at Art Walk, for example, they just get in touch with us, and then we start to fit them in, whether they become a paid act on the promenade or they get connected to a specific venue or something like that. So we also put a lot of investment into the 2nd Street Promenade, where the Art Walk began, and is the heart of the Art Walk. So with the key investments came to this when we got our first Investing in the Arts grant. I know that was mentioned earlier, and we're a big advocate for that grant and what it's catalyzed. So for us, we were one of the first recipients of the grant for $10,000. And we used that money to pay artists. And what that did is it freed us up some money to start to have some personnel, increase our personnel costs and pay artists on the promenade. And so that's when we hired Yenny Burnell, the coordinator. We eventually were able to get, Craig, the audio engineer. We were able to get an info booth staff, all of this infrastructure is really critical, because the band doesn't want to come and just play on a piece of asphalt. They really like having a high quality audio system and someone running levels and feedback, and then being illuminated, because, for example, the light on the promenade, the street light fell down a few years ago and the city didn't have money to replace it. So we had to start bringing in $300 worth of lights each Art Walk in order to light the bands, and it adds up to $3,600 a year. So just for that lighting, for that stuff. So that infrastructure is a lot. We also have free art workshops that Yenny has brought in and prioritized, and community workshops. There's showcasing of Santa Ana College mural team, jewelry department, fashion department. We get all kinds of calls from the schools, from institutions, from community players who want to participate and plug into Art Walk. And it's really as simple as having a conversation and finding where, you know, what people want to do, what's safe, what's possible, and making it happen. And this infrastructure that grew for us out of the Investing in the Arts grant and really helped us start to leverage more investment in the arts really paid off in the partnership with the school district, because the school district really needed a lot of infrastructure in order for them to participate and with the Art Walk. You know, it has to be safe. We had to have great lighting, great audio, be able to accommodate the crowd, you know, be able to direct parents to where to park and where to eat and all that stuff. And so it's not just a, hey, get the kids to do this. The school district, the kids, everyone really wanted to do this. And we really all learned together how we could all participate and contribute to create a really valuable experience for everybody. And this partnership has been incredible, and it's grown in all kinds of ways and really changed lives and been a huge impact on downtown and bringing a lot of local people back to their downtown. We also have, you know, hire live artists and installations. And if we're not paying them, then the Investing in the Arts grant has brought them there often. You know, often artists get the Investing in the Arts grant, and then they want to engage with the community, or they want to showcase a completed piece at the end of the project. And so that's when they're coming back to Art Walk and partnering with us. And so we're always a home to that, or we're hiring, you know, content. We're very open to, you know, community booths, takeovers, and fringe festivals. So we get a lot of calls from the water department, OC Streetcar, OC Health, the census, you know, groups that need to get out community messaging, and they're always welcome to participate and give out their information. We've had flash mobs from Santa Ana Business Council and SAUSD. We've had, you know, very entrepreneurial Girl Scouts, the Roses in Concrete. You know, there's a very young Jonathan Hernandez taking over the main stage with Frankie Castle for big reveal of their art. And then even Bokeh de Oro, which has become a $100,000 festival of itself. It started as a quote unquote fringe festival of Art Walk happening on the March Art Walk. So definitely always open to partnerships and seeing things grow. I mean, I didn't mention here also, but Yenny's Sound Walk in October is another event. We also, outside of Art Walk, try and contribute to, you know, the arts economy and also keeping in touch. And so this was actually the last arts mixer we had right before the pandemic, where we actually announced we were going to expand Art Walk and start shutting down Sycamore Street. But unfortunately, the very next month, Art Walk was shut down for the pandemic. We also host cultural performances as well as thematic decor elements during special times of the year. So, you know, whether it's Noche or Asian New Year's, there's always content being created to speak to the different audiences that attend and participate in our community. We also have done a concerted effort to grow Art Walk into new areas. So whereas, you know, Art Walk maybe started one area, caught on in another, and then another, we've, you know, SABC especially has taken a lot of risks, and we've gone to places where maybe there isn't the life yet, but there's a little bit of something stirring, or a small gallery open somewhere, and we've tried to put a DJ out over there, or a kid walk, or even dancing in the streets, which this is an early dancing in the streets on the Paseo, you know, just a few people showing up. That event turned into thousands of people showing up. So taking some small risks, trying to grow things in different areas at different times as there's different energy. That's been a huge strategy of Art Walk and very successful. Also, you know, we facilitative of busking and an open environment for experimentation. If people show up and they're a moving gallery or they're having a little peaceful protest, I mean, they're not ushered out of Art Walk or asked to see where their permit or licenses. There's been a lot of impromptu and unsanctioned activity at Art Walk that is harmless and welcomed, and it's wouldn't be fun without all that. As I mentioned earlier, you know, SABC, they had started this dancing in the streets on the Spurgeon Paseo, and that element has grown so big with the dancing and a whole new vendor area. And so it really is possible. There's so much more possibility with Art Walk to activate new spaces and really turn them into something. And there's a formula for that, for success, that's really based in trust and experimentation and you know, innovative funding, and we're all about that. Another great example of that is the Callejón de Beso, which is this Alley of the Kiss, which I think started as a Investing in the Arts grant with the Santa Ana Artista Coalition, and them doing this amazing outreach process and creating this place in what was formerly just this alley, and how that's continued to be activated over the years by Moises Camacho through SABC at Art Walk in many different ways. And then at Boca de Oro with Marina Aguilera, adding her murals that I probably were investing in the arts grants too. So we start to see the years and years and the compound interest of all of this love, all of this care, all of this art, all of this placemaking. And it's really a beautiful thing to behold, and something that we're very excited to support and help anchor in some ways. We hold the coordination meetings back before the pandemic. I think we were doing monthly meetings or something like that, to just go over each area of Art Walk, what's happening, what needs to happen, what's getting connected and stuff like that, because there is no one person doing this. It's really, like everybody has said, everyone is participating, contributing, giving different parts of this, breathing different parts of life to this. And it's really just a coordination piece and a little bit of, you know, permitting and city elbow grease that I think we're helping anchor. As I mentioned, like, we also have, we look at the whole arts system as something we're very engaged in. And so we built an arts registry and an arts index of resources as well, so that local artists can receive calls for art and information from us. So we've distributed over $500,000 in grants, calls, and opportunities to over 300 Santa Ana artists through this tool. And this is a really effective way to for us to communicate with each other. And so definitely, if you're not aware of this tool and the registry, we'd love people to get on there so that we can continue to be in touch. And as things evolve, we can talk. Are people, I'm showing my screen, right? Is that right? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. All right. Also, when the pandemic hit, you know, we went right to digital that very next month. So that was really important to us, and all of us were really scared, and we didn't know what was happening. And I think it's hard for us to even think back to like what that was like, but immediately everyone involved in Art Walk came together, and we produced a 4-hour Facebook Live the very next Art Walk, and continued to do that through the whole, you know, brunt of the beginning of the pandemic, where people were glued to being at home. And so I thought that was a really amazing thing that happened, and we look forward to returning to in-person pandemic. So I mean, in-person Art Walk. So where is Art Walk? Why isn't it happening right now? Well, there's a couple challenges facing Art Walk right now. So number one is, you know, the city has informed us up through now that they're not issuing special events permits. So you cannot have a special event on public space right now. That's a primary issue. Also, there's no temporary vendor permits on public space right now, which is also a huge cornerstone of the activations with Art Walk. The city just did announce that they, like literally today, they will begin reviewing permits for public park spaces starting June 15th. And Calle Cuatro Plaza is considered a public park, and that's one of the Art Walk areas. So that's very interesting. Another challenge, of course, is what was brought up is that the downtown bid budgets, which are budgets that we've, over the course of several years have continued to grow and find new things to spend on Art Walk. They've been devastated by COVID. They're down 67% this year. Hopefully that's where we're at. And it's because the two primary sources for this revenue are business licenses from downtown area, and the parking revenue is the other source of the $200,000 that Downtown Inc. gets that's not clean and safe related. So those revenues are down, and that's really where we grew to spend money on Art Walk from the Investing in the Arts grants. So that's a challenge. But after COVID's over, these revenues are expected to bounce back. Then the other challenge is just that the galleries aren't open. So the Art Walk is anchored by 20 plus galleries and a few major institutions that have galleries that are all closed right now. And so we're in touch with them and hearing what's starting to happen, which it's really like, this is very timely because really things are just starting to come back online. OCA just announced they're going to have a limited access on May 1st. Studio Gene and the Santoras talking about summer. Sac Gallery reached out talking about they're looking at fall. And then just Grand Central just announced this meeting, June soft opening and September firm opening. So these are really hot, brand new pieces of information, and this is what is going to lead to Art Walk reopening, is these challenges being removed. So there are opportunities for Art Walk. We are hearing that it sounds like there's a bit of a scare of where Art Walk is at, and we're hearing a lot of people's passion and support for Art Walk. And so it definitely is worth saying that the downtown bids have directed over $500,000 to the Art Walk over the last 7 years. And a full year of Art Walk production really, right now costs under $100,000, and at $100,000 would be everything that we've had before and more. So we're talking about very small amounts of money compared to what probably should be invested in the arts, should be invested in downtown, should be invested in our community. It's laughable actually. But we don't have that money in those accounts this moment. And so if Art Walk was permissible, we're looking for money, we're going to find money, we're going to do Art Walk. But we do think that if people feel that there is an opportunity to tap new budgets and new partners for Art Walk and for the arts, we're all for that. And some of those might be the new Visitors Bureau with $2.4 million that's been established, or the $140 million CARES Act relief funding that's flowing through the city pipes right now. Or maybe there's unused city event funding because the city has canceled all their special events for 2021 as of this moment. I don't know, maybe they're changing their plan. And then cannabis funding or grants or sponsorships, or get as creative as you'd like. But I'm just pointing to a few sources that could be additional sources for Art Walk or for the arts in general, and we're supportive of that. We want to see more money in the arts and more money in artists' pockets. And then so for us in general, for Art Walk, is also we need to revisit the permit process. So get permitting as soon as possible. Maybe there could be a permit available in the next few months. That would be really great in the next 2 months. Find ways to allow for vendors. That's a specific permit that also is specifically being not allowed right now. And then let's make it easier to activate different types of public space. There's private space, there's public space, there's park space. The Blue Lot is an amazing private space that the community has been able to utilize for Art Walk-like events, vendors, community, music, food trucks. There's some challenges there. There's some challenges facing any private space like that. And we could help maybe change that. Public space, like the promenade, like sidewalks, like streets. Let's make it easier to shut those down and activate them. And then parks like Calle Plaza, Birch Park. I think they run the Paseo too. That make it easier. We want an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with the Parks Department, so that we can make it easier to activate those spaces and let artists utilize them, because right now it's very challenging. Also, it's a great time for Art Walk. During the pandemic, more event producers really cut their teeth downtown and were able to grow distinct events that reach different audiences and learn the ropes of how all this stuff works. And they're very competent and skilled. And we know that if we can open spaces and connect curators and producers and community members and event vendors, that things will just keep happening because there's a ton of energy. It's just bound up by these couple of issues. Also, another opportunity that's emerges, we are much better now and much more able to close streets down. We have street closure equipment on hand. The city is much more amenable to closing down streets for good uses. And also there's a lot of support, and there's a case study now for permanent infrastructure coming out of this. So when you build an awesome arts vendor area, then there's the potential that should be kiosks, or that it should be a marketplace or something like that. And so with our patios, which started as us purchasing a lot of pedestrian racks and K-rails and things like that, the intention was to set up patios for the restaurants during the pandemic, but then that would become our event inventory after the pandemic. So now we have an inventory of K-rails, of pedestrian rails that could be used to shut streets down. And the city invested CARES Act money into those temporary patios to build the 20-some permanent patios that are out there now. So we've seen a conversion where temporary setups became permanent. So that's a great case study and something the arts should pay attention to and we should look at. So I'm going to conclude just with another really short video that we shot after we got the first $10,000 Investing in the Arts grant, and we're able to set up our infrastructure for our personnel and hire and pay local artists to perform on the promenade. And you can hear it from them what they thought about that. So give me 1 second. Oh wait, that's the stupid one I already played. Oops. Oh, is it? No, this is it.
Tonight was an amazing art walk, especially because of the incredible performances we had on the promenade.
My name is Jeanette McMahon. I am the Visual and Performing Arts Coordinator at Godinez Fundamental High School and the producer of Fiddler on the Roof. Tonight, we had the opportunity to perform at Art Walk, selections from our show that is this week. And it was really fun to hear the kids perform, and we had music, and we had a huge crowd. It was really awesome.
My name is Teresa Alvarez, and I am a circus performer. I love the Art Walk. I've been coming here since I was a kid, and I moved away for a little bit, and now that I'm back, I really love how the community has just grown, and I really want to be a part of it.
My name is Joaquin Martinez, and the band's name is Elite Fitness Downtown. It's an honor to play Art Walk because it happens once a month, and we get to be exposed to new people. It was a pleasure for us to play here at the Art Walk. I hope we can come back soon.
We'd like to thank the city of Santa Ana. They gave us a generous arts grant, which has allowed us to create all this amazing entertainment and also help fund local artists so they can stay here and make this a real artist village that everybody wants to be a part of.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Are we ready for our next presentation?
Chair Gutierrez, if you give me a second, I just want to make an announcement that for those that are listening to the meeting, the public comment session ended already, and everyone that is in the meeting right now, I'm going to put everyone back on the waiting room. And if you want to continue watching the meeting, you can do it on YouTube. Thank you. Go ahead.
I just have a quick question, Bianca.
Yes.
Last time there were people who were not able to sign up for the waiting list, and they submitted public comments, and I was just wondering if there were any of those tonight.
Yes, we received, I believe there were 4 public comments via email, and 2 of them did actually speak here, Pocha and Victor Payan. And then I have another one that I received from Tram, and they're all related to the art walk, in support of the art walk. And those will be included in the minutes. Okay, thank you. Chair Gutierrez, we can continue with the meeting.
Okay, so we're going to move to our next
Yes.
presentation, and that's going to be our presentation, Works Agency presentation for the South Main project. So let's move forward with that.
Wait, Chair Gutierrez, do you not want to have, this is a work study session. Do you want to have any kind of discussion among the arts commissioners regarding what Ryan had just presented?
Yeah, I think it definitely, definitely it merits a good discussion, okay? And because we have things coming in from all kinds of angles here. And,
This is also your chance to ask him any questions you'd like, clarify anything.
I'm gonna initiate with a brief aspect of what I see what Art Walk is. Okay, I mean I've been in the art business 28 years, and if we look at Art Walk, and we start understanding what Art Walk and what it means, okay, and we start looking at comparatives of Art Walk like the one we have in Laguna Beach, okay, like the one we've created in Santa Ana, and maybe others like the one I've seen in Palm Desert and in other cities undoubtedly, is we have to define, okay, what exactly do we envision Art Walk, okay? Do we want Art Walk as a means of how an artist is going to sell art in a gallery, and we're supporting the business of art and selling art in galleries? Because if I were to look at the example of Laguna, definitely that is their main purpose. And it has total support from the galleries, and the investment comes from the galleries because they have a huge possibility of making, financial success by selling art. And that has been really the core of it. And if we look at what we've done in Santa Ana, okay, I would say it's a little different because we brought together an event that is really, we bring the community to art, okay? And that's why it's taking such an investment, because we're doing more than your typical art walk that's intended to sell art. We're satisfying and we're creating a program that you could say, wow, it's a program for the whole community to come in and enjoy art, not buy art, enjoy art. There's a difference, and that's gonna cost money. So the vision is, it's kind of like taking the responsibility of Parks and Recreation and the responsibility of the Santa Ana Unified School District to satisfy the aspect of art, okay? Because they have the budgets, and we don't have the budgets to make parties to satisfy the aspect of art. So we have to look at a vision. If we really want to make successful art where people are going to come and buy art, because that's really the intent of the aspect of art on that particular day, because I'll tell you, many people in my business, they comment, oh, we like to go to Santa Ana to party, but we want to buy art, we go to Laguna. How do you think that hits? So I leave you with that to think, and I open discussion. Anybody else?
I have a question, and I understand that.
Yeah, I would like to speak.
Okay.
Well, first, listen, pick up your hand first. So we could, who wants to be the first one who wants to comment?
Jose,
Robin, who wants to be the first one to comment?
I have a question.
Tell me, who wants to pick up your hand so I can know who wants to be the next person?
Frank,
So
if
we can
you
be
open up,
organized.
if you open up the underneath it says participants, and then click on that little arrow, and it'll open up a box for you. Then you'll see people who raise their hand in order. Then you can call them in order. You know what I mean? So Joseph raised his hand first. Now Robin raised her hand, and it's like a blue hand. You see this? So that way, I think it'll make it easier.
I'm looking for my thing. Okay.
Jose, Robin, and then Deborah.
As you can see, I'm involved in creating.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, Jose.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yeah, I have a few comments. I'll try to keep them as short as possible. But a lot of things come to mind when it comes to this issue of Downtown Inc. and the Art Walk. And being able to look at them in different ways, with perhaps in how it started to what it ultimately became. I'd like to bring up to the conversation the PBID and how controversial that was, the tax that was put on local businesses that created the funding for the artist walk and a lot of the downtown, happenings. Then Downtown Inc. was tasked with running it, which was also controversial because Downtown Inc. is behind it is the developer, and developers are many times on the side of gentrification, which is what a lot of the public comments of folks brought up. The other thing is that SABAC was brought up to try to counteract what a lot of folks were saying Downtown Inc. Was becoming, this machine for gentrification, and then ultimately, in my opinion, they're one and the same. So it doesn't make sense anymore as far as why one was created to counteract the other. The other is, I've been a part of Noche de Altares for 5 years at least. And I remember one time downtown trying to take credit for the Noche de Altares and by putting it on their map. So there was that aspect of co-opting, and I heard Ryan Smoller bring that up, which is why it kind of just triggered that memory. And so, all to say that I think it's a lot of folks brought up how beautiful it was initially when it was more grassroots, resident run, and how it's really just kind of gotten out of hand. So that's something to be said. The other thing is, it is a Saturday, and Saturdays in downtown for the several years now are a happening place. Downtown is a place just similar to what Fullerton has become. That's good or bad. It brings revenue to the city. We need it, but also, people don't like it. But there is something valuable in that, and then also valuable in funding the arts. So I'll end my comments with saying that I do think that it's important that funding continues for the Downtown Art Walk. I believe that the city will find funds in the near future so that we can have the Art Walk back again once we're able to do it in a safe way. That doesn't mean that we do over policing into an area that's already being policed because of the massive traffic because of the happenings that is the weekend in the downtown, and also being able to not just throw a lot of money and get a little output, and also not paying artists, as was mentioned. There's a lot of great organizations or grassroots groups, schools that could form a group that could put together ideas, vote in a democratic process to like bring the best from our community. So I'll leave it at that. But, you know, I personally have my feelings about Downtown Inc. for 10 years to now. But I'll just say that I believe in the art, and that's why the last meeting I mentioned and other folks were also supportive about an ad hoc committee to talk about the artist walk and how we can really make it the best it can be. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment before we move forward. If there's anybody right now, I mean, within that is receiving money indirectly from consultation from Downtown Inc., I think you should bring it up so we know there's no conflict of interest and be upfront with that. Okay, just to be on the table on that. Okay. Next, who wants to speak next? Robin?
Hi, thank you. Yes. First of all, I want to thank you, Ryan, for presenting the overview of the Art Walk. I think it helped at least clarify some of the recent things, and we appreciate that your organization, the Business Improvement District, the BID, has supported our local artists to the degree that they have. I have a clarifying question, and I'm not sure who to direct this to exactly. What exact, other than we can advocate and champion and request from our city council members whom we represent for funding to support Art Walk, what is the oversight of the commission on Art Walk? Like, what is our role and responsibility? What control or can we have, or do we have, to oversee this? Because I don't know, I honestly don't know if what we can do other than advocate and champion Art Walk, because it doesn't sound like it's going away. I think I heard some fear that people thought it was going away. And of course, we've all been pivoting with the pandemic on every level. And perhaps, you know, reimagining what it's going to be like coming back was presented, but what really power do we have over Art Walk as an arts commission?
Fran, is that something you could answer?
Technically, we don't have any oversight over that because it's not run by the city. So, and the city did not give specific funds to Art Walk. So right now it is run by Downtown Inc.
So technically, if we were to do something, it has to be a body that we have to create and independent. And that would be a decision we would have to take and then put it up for city council, see if they would vote it for financing. And that's a whole ad hoc committee with a task force behind it. Okay.
I don't know.
Deborah,
No, I don't
you
know.
have your hands up?
I don't think that's
Yeah.
true, Chair Gutierrez. Ryan, can you clarify this for us, please?
Yeah, the Art Walk as it currently stands is an event that's put on by Downtown Inc., which is not city run. There's no oversight from the city in terms of the operations of the Art Walk at this time. So in terms of any input you may have about recommendations for it, I mean those can be sent to Mr. Smolar and Downtown Inc. for consideration. But there's no direct orders that we can give for how Art Walk should be run. And in terms of, if we wanted to kind of set up a program like that, that would have to come from city council. But that would be something separate from the Art Walk. It would almost be like creating a separate event. But that's not within the jurisdiction of the Arts and Culture Commission to create something like that. That would have to come from the city council because it would require funding and that can only be provided by city council.
So just to conclude my thoughts on that, thank you for the clarification, because absolutely we want to support local artists and we want to have a forum and opportunities for them. For our arts people to be represented and to have multiple arts and culture events, but I'm not sure what we can do in terms of, but I would like to request maybe an ad hoc committee to discuss it further.
Well,
Deborah,
I'm
Deborah, you're
curious.
next to speak.
I'm curious that it's not the oversight of the Arts and Culture Commission, but the city of Santa Ana does grant a special event permit. Is that correct?
Yes.
For this event. Okay. So, and then the second piece is, I think there's just a lot of concern about transparency. I realize the city doesn't fund this event, but it does seem like there is money that comes from the city, from the parking revenue, for instance, that then is that Downtown Inc. then decides how to allocate that funding. And I think that's where really the concern lies, is, we don't have transparency about how much money is available in that budget. One person who commented quoted a percentage that it was a very small percentage of a certain budget that's allocated for Art Walk. And I think that's concerning. And I just think that if we were to form an ad hoc committee, the point of that would be to help understand just the equity that's going on with this funding, how much is being allocated, and how it's benefiting artists. I know there's some business concerns that Frank raised, and I appreciate those, but I think this Art Walk is really more of a public good. And so I really appreciate, for instance, as a Santa Ana and a downtown resident, that this is available to families and to all of us as a free event that we can all enjoy. And so I think we should continue with that spirit. But I also second, if we were to have a research committee of some sort to really be able to share these numbers and this information with the public who is interested, and all of these artists who have donated and dedicated years and years to this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Is there somebody else with another?
Indigo, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I just want to thank Ryan for sharing the presentation. Like Robin was saying, it really did clarify some of the questions I had around Art Walk. And I definitely want to agree with especially the ending of the presentation that this is a great opportunity for us to revisit, us as like a city, to revisit Art Walk with creative new ways to think about the event. And I also definitely want to highlight the fact that artists of all kinds have been amazingly flexible during this pandemic in adapting their arts and their pieces, whether performing or visual or otherwise, to be accessible to the general public. Art Walk has been around for so long. Like I'm young enough that Art Walk has been around for almost my entire lifetime and almost the entire time that I've lived in Santa Ana. And I can't imagine Santa Ana without it. I think it's essential, and I think everyone here is in agreement that Art Walk needs to continue because it is part of the life of the city. I want to raise a little bit of concern when Ryan was talking about the Clean and Safe program with the Downtown Art Walk. I want to raise basically two concerns, which are that there was a mention that there was a 50% increase in trash removal from 2018 to 2019. And although I understand that trash removal is like a logistical component that needs to happen, I also want to think about like ecological sustainability, like what kind of things are happening at these events, what kind of crowds are being attracted to warrant such an increase. And this is for like the life, the health of our city as well. And echoing what Joyce has said earlier about the policing and police presence, I know that there are many residents within the, not just here in Santa Ana, but also visitors also for whom proximity with police is dangerous. And police presence is actually something that deters our people from actually attending. Like what kind of events are happening here? Again, what kind of businesses are being allowed to like function during Art Walk that create such an increased need for security, and how instead can we create an environment, how instead can we create and formulate an art walk that lends itself to true community building and sustainability rather than an increased need for security and trash removal instead. And I definitely echo what everyone has said. I just really want to make sure that we focus on those issues also when we think about the future of Art Walk.
Commissioner Vu, are you asking Ms. Ryan Smolar directly, like to answer some of these questions now, since we have him?
If that's possible, if you could shed some light on that, absolutely.
Could I start my video? Thank you, commissioners, for your questions. I heard a couple different questions come in. So is it okay to go back to first Robin's or actually to Frank's comment? And so I heard what Frank was saying, that, there's different flavors of the different art walks from Laguna Beach to Santa Ana. And so our approach has not been to be the tastemaker for Art Walk. Our approach has been to create Art Walk as a platform for the community, for artists, for businesses, for institutions who want to partner with that night and the area of downtown that's activated during Art Walk, so that those things can happen. And so the flavor of Art Walk is created by that soup of all of those things. And I hope that equitably and openly, I showed you that we're creating infrastructure to help the participation overcome barriers like permits and fees and costs. We're compensating people and utilizing as many types of funding as possible to do that. And so that's really what flavors Art Walk, and not some, it's not like we're deciding that we want to be this flavor or that. And then I think next was Robin McNair, or I'm sorry, Jose's commented, but I got kicked out of the meeting and I missed your comments if you had anything specific, but I came back in as you were wrapping up. And then with Robin McNair, you asked about, how does the city have authority over Art Walk? Could they support it and events in general? And so, Art Walk is considered like a privately produced event because it's an event permit submitted by a nonprofit organization outside of the city. And like, for example, the festivals, Cinco de Mayo, Fiestas Patrias, those used to be produced by an outside vendor as well. And that vendor went bankrupt, and then the city took over those events and tried to produce them in-house. And they were giant $300,000 events, and they were charging artists $800 to participate, and that all really collapsed as well. And then they did an RFP for outside organizations to take the events off the city's hands, and 2 RFPs were issued over 2 years, and finally a group came in and took the RFP, and then I believe those events failed as well. So event business is very challenging. It's challenging for the city. It's challenging for outside producers. These events run at a huge loss, and that's why we're investing in them, because we see the economic benefits realized elsewhere, and we're uniquely positioned that we can make those type of investments, whereas a private event producer really couldn't. So there's that. And then the other aspect of a city event production is Parks and Rec Department. They have a budget for producing events like Shakespeare in the Park, for example, which is like an $8,000 event, and different events that they produce. And then there's been different budgets over the years that come through, like when it was the 150th anniversary, there was a budget specific to that. And so, for example, we got a little bit of money from that budget to do the Santa Ana Historic Street Breakfast. So I think that it's really a great idea to always look for money, advocate for money. The most successful thing, I think, with this commission, somebody came here, the Consulate of Mexico, with the idea of putting the Wings of the City statues out, and you guys and them and the city were able to partner together, raise those funds. We helped maintain the statues, protect them, clean them. They were defaced multiple times, and they were cleaned within minutes every single time, so that they didn't get further messed with. And these are things that we should be doing. We should be asking for more funds for the arts, and the event business is very complicated. And I think that Downtown Inc. has done a really amazing job at stewarding this with what they've done. And I've really worked every year to move a little more shekels into this bucket. And unfortunately, COVID wiped all that out, and we have to start again. And that's what we're going to do. But I think we could be partners. I think any money that goes to the Art Walk or to the arts is good. And even just refunding your investing in the arts grant will have an impact on Art Walk, because so many of those artists will partner with Art Walk, as we've seen. and those investments over the years have a major impact. So there's a lot of options, I think, on the table. Was it then Deborah? So Deborah, you were asking about transparency and the funding and that stuff. So the downtown funds are really transparent, and I think that if you want to look at any of the numbers with me, I'm happy to go through them with you. But we have quarterly public board meetings. SABC has bi-monthly public board meetings, and our budgets are audited. Every check is analyzed by 3 people at City Hall. The city is very stringent on who gets paid. Right now, they're asking us that, even musicians have City of Santa Ana business licenses. So there's a lot of barriers, and it's really hard because a lot of artists have never made an invoice, or they don't have a W-9, or they don't have a business license, or they don't have a CUP. And we, I think, are really a bridge where we try and make it a lot easier for people to be able to get paid and to do work here. And we try and help a lot of people through that process. So I think we're on the good side of that. And I'm happy to go through stuff with you. And I think, I heard, I think Alicia say something like, downtown was giving $5,000 to Art Walk, and I think that's probably right. When I got here, I think that it was $250 for the coordinator and $250 for the band, and that was the investment in Art Walk. And by last year, it was something like $60,000 to $80,000 just from us, I think. So that all grew over a long period of time. It's very methodical and boring, and that's why we don't talk about it a lot, but I'm happy to go through it with you if you're interested, and maybe you can help us find some more money or some things that we could do differently. And then Indigo, really appreciated your comments and your lifelong love affair with the Art Walk, and I appreciate the concerns you brought up about the policing and the cleaning and the sustainability. I didn't want to go too into details, but I mean, the number one problem we have in the artist village is human excrement. And so it's a daily, it's a daily battle there. And like you said, what solves the problems with needing less clean and safe is having activation, having events, having kiosks, having people around, having free yoga. All that stuff means that there's not going to be there's eyes on the street, there's not going to be trouble, you don't need the policing and all that. So we definitely believe in that, and that's our philosophy as well. As the sustainability efforts in the city of Santa Ana are really at the beginning. Like I mentioned, I'm from Long Beach, and they've had an Office of Sustainability for 20 years maybe at this point. I run the Food Policy Council there. They have just released their climate action plan. They have we're really not there, and any advocacy for sustainability is a great idea. We just did a grant to small artists, and it was a mini grant for $1,000 each, 5 or 6 of them, to artists and small businesses to do gardens downtown and grow walls and those type of things. So we're very interested in those type of issues and environmental design and all that stuff. So yes, very much supportive of everything that you're saying.
Thank you, Ryan. Do we have another hand? Somebody else who wants to speak?
Deborah, you have a question?
I think Robin was.
Oh, Robin. Mm-hmm.
Robin?
Thank you, Ryan. You answered some of the questions that I was going to ask, and that's really helpful in terms of, thank you for the transparency about the budgets and that we could look at that, because I know that was a concern. I'm curious to know, it was mentioned in public comments about expanding possibilities in other areas outside of the downtown. Is this something that is possible or not within your purview? Would that require a whole different set of people to run and activate?
mean outside of downtown. I just meant outside of the promenade, the plaza, the paseo. You know, these areas have come online, and additional areas like the West End, you know, maybe Birch Park in the future. But you could, and Sasser Park, you know, we have a streetcar coming that is going to change the face of downtown. There's going to be transit stops and multiple locations downtown. Why wouldn't there be permanent infrastructure for arts, marketplaces, and vending? We also do have an interest in supporting arts outside downtown. I'm baffled that, you know, the city's losing tons of money on the train station, and yet you go to every other city and their train station has been repurposed into a very successful arts center. You know, we would get behind ideas like that. We are supporting mural projects in the community. We're supporting, you know, our neighbor associations that come to us that want arts or food, culinary arts, and things like that.
Yeah, and I was, just to clarify, I was wondering, like, in all the wards, you know, having different arts events or activity to activate, is that, because that sounds like the Arts Commission wouldn't be able to do something like that, but is that something like an organization such as yours, or is that a whole
We'd
other-
love to partner on that. And actually the governor's office just called, and they, through TRAM, connected with us, and they want to do it's a Santa Ana based artist, but the governor's office is paid for it. It's a vaccine awareness program they're launching in 15 communities, and Santa Ana is one of them. And it's going to include a sculpture in downtown, and then a piece of the sculpture is going to be on display in every ward. And I've never heard about anything like that. And, you know, Madeline and you just worked together with the Boca de Oro to build all those little free libraries and distribute those into the neighborhood. So we definitely want to see a lot of interaction with the neighborhoods. I know Santa Anita neighborhood, we've sponsored them to come down and do the haunted tour. So we love to bring the downtown energy to different parts of the city, and have different parts of the city bring their energy to us, and see us as a bridge and a platform for that. And downtown's really lucky because we have a mechanism for funding. You know, we talk a lot about these funds. Well, all the revenue for downtown is supposed to be generated from downtown. So it's money that comes from downtown that's spent on downtown, so the resources that we have are the business license fees of the 600 or 700 businesses that are downtown. And then we, in 2014 or so, were able to negotiate that we would get $100,000 out of the parking revenue. And that didn't come true for a few years. And then as of now, it's not true again. But those revenues are what keeps all of this stuff functioning. And then the other piece is Clean and Safe, which is the foundation block of downtown. And Clean and Safe program cleans 84 blocks of the city, 365, 24/7, power washing. There's multiple porters. We empty 96 public trash cans. They are working on a shoestring budget. It's really shameful. We've had the same crew for at least 7 years. They didn't even get a raise.
I don't want to stop you, but
Yeah.
there's limits to everything, and I think other people might have a question, because otherwise we'll be here all night. And I want, anybody else has a question on the subject matter? Deborah?
Yeah, I do.
I just want to add, again, I mean, I keep hearing that there's money from parking and there's money from all of these city sources. And
But there's no money from city sources that are coming to this.
Caller, please, caller. It's not your time to talk. Deborah, you talk.
Thank you very much. I very much feel confused as to how the Art Walk is funded. And I think the public is also a little bit confused about this. I know there was a recent article in the Voice of OC that the person who had coordinated Art Walk for the last 7 years and has all that important institutional knowledge about how this event operates is now not part of this event. And I think that's perplexing to me. And it's disturbing to me. We have a woman of color from Santa Ana who for some reason is just now disassociated from this event. And so I just think there's a lot of questions. We don't understand how the funding works. I realize it's not a city event, yet there are ties to city funding. And I think because we all see this as an important city or public good, I think we owe our constituents more information about this and transparency. And for that reason, again, I think we do need to form some kind of a committee to make that information available.
Thank you, Deborah. And I think you're right. There has to be an ad hoc committee to look at our relationships and our relationships even with Parks and Recreation, because we might be looking at an association with Parks and Recreation to do an arts festival in a park as a separation from what is the world of art, which is intended to sell art and support financially the artists. And I am an advisor now on the Parks and Recreation Committee, and I will be advocating that maybe we'll do an event of art in a park, okay? That gives us all that for the community versus doing something that mixes everything at the same time and doesn't really expose the aspect of really the possibility of artists trying to make a living and selling art in galleries. But I think the suggestion at this point is we make a committee so we could, be on top of these matters, because it is, at the end of the day, don't tell me it's not city money. It comes from the city, it's city money, period, okay? So I think we position that and we make an ad hoc committee and we discuss it because it is the city money, period. So Tram, what is our position about taking that position?
I have a comment.
A comment, Fernando, you have a comment? Who has a comment? Fernando?
Jose, but if Fernando has one, I can cede to him.
Fernando? Unmute.
I just had a quick comment. Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just had a quick comment that I also think the ad hoc committee would be a good idea. I mean, the public wants it. So wanted to see what we can do to move forward with it. And also, yeah, I'm an advocate for the art walk too. I mean, we all wanted to come back. So just those, I think the biggest hurdle seemed to be permits and also the galleries being closed. That to me seems like the biggest hurdles. And yeah, I mean, everybody wants to know where the budget's coming from and all that, so.
Thank you, Fernando. Anybody else within the point? Any hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, Chair.
Yes.
So I think basically from what I'm gathering from what the presentation is, and just in the future, I think we can have a time limit to the presentations. It'd be best. We're already at 2 hours at this meeting plus, so it's getting a little long. But I think there's a lot of confusion from the public and even from folks here, myself included, on the funding. Yeah, it's not budgeted per se, but it was part of the PBID, and so it's a weird way in which the city has subcontracted the downtown to the nonprofit, and the nonprofit Downtown Inc. has decided now to cut the program, and so then the question is, who is going to replace that? Because the city does issue a permit specifically to Downtown Inc. I mean, they could give it to another nonprofit, another private organization, that could get the funds. And having run Noche de Altares, I know how expensive, running events downtown is, so yeah, it is not an easy task, to get insurance and all these things, liability. But, anybody then, in the absence of Downtown Inc. could step in and do that. But so that's that. But and so I definitely support the art walk coming back, and I think the public as well, and and I'm sure about why it is that we're having to be dependent on an organization that then takes it upon themselves to then unilaterally cut it when we want it so badly. And so if we do, then perhaps that's a conversation the city council needs to have about allocating funds, particularly for the city to do that, or to have some sort of other arrangement around how the funds are being used around the PBID, to fund the art walk.
Tram, are we in a position to make a motion of creating an ad hoc committee and moving forward on that particular position to study this further?
Before we go into that, I think I'm going to ask Ryan Hodge to clarify the parameters of creating an ad hoc that, there needs to be some kind of concrete goal at the end.
The
Right.
Sorry about
concrete
that.
goal
Yeah,
is pretty
Tram is
set.
exactly correct.
We're gonna
The,
define-
my apologies. The ad hoc committee is intended to serve a specific purpose, specific goal. So that has to be outlined when you create the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee is also limited to, I believe we have 7 members on this commission, so it'd have to be no more than 3 members that would be appointed to participate in the ad hoc commission, to be within the Brown Act rules. And so, I will, let Tram kind of set the schedule for that. Whenever it is ready to go, when that concrete purpose is established for what it wants to be, and that timeline is set for how long it will be open, then it would be up to the chair to appoint the members to that ad hoc committee. But it sounds like it might take maybe a little bit more time. Maybe by next meeting it might be ready to have some kind of concrete concept brought back to the commission in terms of how it would work best.
So I guess he basically said it would be my position to go in the direction of creating that. So I say by next meeting, let's put some thoughts and let's create an ad hoc committee, and hopefully Deborah, you could be on it. Okay.
Thank you, Ryan. And to reiterate what he said is that at the end, you have to have something concrete at the end, kind of like the mural guidelines. So the concrete thing is at the end, you're going to have a mural guideline. So you can't just say, I'm going to have an ad hoc committee to discuss Art Walk. That's not a concrete end goal. So what is it? Are you going to find an organization to replace Downtown Inc? Are you going to, what is this concrete? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so
when you say concrete, okay, at this point, okay, we have to study the concrete aspect. Okay, give us a little bit of time to study the concrete aspect.
Exactly. Yes.
So you can't expect it now because it's on the table, Deborah. So it's kind of like, give us a couple of give it some time so we'll bring some concrete aspects to this ad hoc committee, and then it comes back, and then the concrete things are going to be on the table.
Well, I think the first thing, though, the big question is just how much money does the city have through parking or whatever means for Art Walk, so that we all understand what funds are available and how they're being allocated. I think that would be a wonderful purpose of an ad hoc committee.
That's a question you can just ask. I don't know if you need an ad hoc committee to ask how much funding we have, so it's about some action you're doing that you need to meet privately, 3 people that you have to do research about, so that's the point of bringing that discussion outside of the regular Arts Commission meeting. If you're ready, if you can discuss it in a regular Arts Commission meeting, then have it there. But yeah, so that's what ad hoc committees serve a function of, like, oh, there's a lot of deep research we got to do, outside of this, then have one.
Well, if you consider the kind of money we're playing with, and all due responsibility, if that kind of money doesn't deserve an ad hoc committee, what does? You're spending, look at the kind of money. I mean, we're not playing like nickels and dimes. We're looking at thousands of dollars. I mean, it's public money. And if we can't take the time to take care of that, what do we have time to do?
And I very much appreciate the detail that Ryan contributed to this presentation to help us understand, the insurance and all the orchestration of different parties. But I still don't have a firm sense of how much money does Art Walk cost to pull off. Is the money being spent? Like, for instance, the trolley. I'm sure that is not inexpensive. I've purchased a trolley for an event before myself, and is that a good use of funds? I don't know. I'd much rather see money like that maybe dedicated to artists, or there was some mention of Santa Ana Unified students district having to pay for something like that. These are all questions I think deserve transparency, and that we don't have that transparency today, even after this presentation.
Yeah, I would just like to add to, I think I share the same comments and questions with the Commissioner Deborah has, but so I would propose that the purpose of this ad hoc committee would be to find a replacement to Downtown Inc. To just say give a replacement for someone to run the downtown Art Walk every month in Santa Ana. given that there's now a void, and to look into researching how other cities do it, Long Beach or others, that have, really thriving art scenes, so that we can, look at that, so that we can propose that kind of, project to the, to the city council, because ultimately it will be, if it comes down to funding and directing sort of funding, it might come down to the city council having to either, figure out something around the PBID or develop some new funding for a new organization to run this, right? So that's my proposal. But perhaps another one is to figure out how to expand the collaboration with nonprofits, grassroots groups, schools, and building, just some sort of like, grassroots committees, so that folks can start getting together and giving us ideas about how they would like to see the art walk being run. That's different or better, or more culturally relevant to, from people that live in Santa Ana. That will really, I think, just make it what, so many callers said that it was in the beginning, and lost its magic.
Okay.
So that's my proposal, and I was wanted to see if anybody else wanted to, but go ahead, Trump, sorry.
Can I make a comment?
To be mindful of another presenter after who's waited all this time to present to, I think we can table this discussion for the next meeting. I'm sorry, I apologize, Councilmember Vu and McNair, but we're gonna probably have to move on at this point. And then we'll put it back onto the agenda next meeting.
We'll table it. I agree. Okay, we move forward. But some good points. Okay, we move forward. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. All right.
I just wanted to synthesize some of the things that I heard that we keep asking about that seem to have already been answered. So, like I heard that Art Walk isn't over. It just got derailed because of a pandemic. I heard that they're spending 60 to 80,000 on Art Walk. I heard that the city doesn't contribute funds to Art Walk. And I heard that that the funds that have been spent are transparent because of the Brown Act and the boards that are associated with contributing funding. So I'm curious if what an ad hoc would do in terms of making recommendations to when we have no purview over this, other than I agree with Josue, it's trying to find ways to create more access or connect people, create broader opportunities. But anyway, so I had heard a lot of answers that we still keep asking questions about.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. And I think your sis points were very good. Deborah, look into it and we'll table it for today. But I think looking at partners is a strategic thing to do. Okay, we're going to go to our next presentation, and that would be Public Works Agency presentation, Art for South Main Project. Are you still there after all this time? Hello?
Yeah. Oh, no, we can't hear you, Nabil. Sorry. Something.
We tried.
Still no. Oh, no.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be for tonight.
Nabil, can you hear us? We can hear you.
Nabil, this is Sean. Can you try and change the microphone? There's probably two options as microphones, and it's probably not picking up. It's probably on the wrong microphone in the conference room.
He was able, we heard him earlier. He was able to get on.
Oh, so maybe just get out and get back on.
Yeah, he was able. Okay, I'm sorry. Can I ask if we can do it a little out of order, only because I don't want to make everybody wait even longer while Nabil is trying to figure this out? Because I've had that issue before too. So is it okay if we skip and I do my update until Nabil is ready?
You want to go to staff member comments then?
Yeah, just because of time, it's already,
I think it's strategic. Let's go to staff member comments. Why? You know,
okay.
that situation gets cleared
All
up.
right, Nabil, let me know when you're ready, okay? I'll stop anytime.
Okay, go forward.
Thank you, Chair Gutierrez. All right, I'm going to show, a slideshow. Sorry. And I'm going to share my screen. Oh, Bianca, can you please allow me to share my screen?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Okay. So the first thing is, you see my screen, right? It says Arts and Culture Commission meeting. Everyone, yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first update is utility box art program. Thanks to the generous funding from Nabil and Public Works Agency, the Parks and Recreation Community Service Agency, and Santa Ana Business Council, with the help of Vice Chair McNair, we will be able to complete our original goal of painting 21 new utility boxes as part of phase 4, as well as restoring up to 20 boxes of the previous 3 phases that have been weathered and tagged up. I'm sure you've seen it around town. But as I've shared before, we were able to do 11 utility boxes, and then we ran out of funding. But thanks to the generosity of those 3 entities, we're able to finish it, hopefully. The artist will begin painting the final 10 boxes on Bristol, Maine, and Lily King Park starting later this month and beginning of May. The Willits and Sullivan Public Art. Construction for the public art installation on the corner of Willits and Sullivan started last weekend, as all of you have received updates on that, all the commissioners. The installation has been extended for an additional 3 weeks because of the artist's health and delays in supply shipment. But as you can see, the foundation there. So we're on track. Parks and Rec fitness course murals. The Arts and Culture Office has been working with the Parks and Rec folks regarding the call for murals. Parks and Rec is looking for Santa Ana based artists and or artist teams to submit digital designs that Parks and Rec will use to wrap 8 fitness courts placed throughout different parks in the city. The selected designs will be paid $5,000 each, and there's an opportunity to include a short bio of the artist or artist team on the side panel. So you see these side panels here. That's where the bios and the photos will be, okay? So the artist and artist team only has to submit a digital design. They do not have to go out there and paint. Parks and Rec will take care of the wrapping. So the artist keeps the entire $5,000. The deadline for online submission, if they're only accepting online, is May 28th. Oops. Just to let you know, sorry, I got an email from Nabil. Bianca, can you please let him in from the waiting room? And commissioners, again, please let your network know about this opportunity. If they have any questions, please have them email either me or Gabby. And again, the deadline for the online submission is May 28th. And then here's what it looks like in real life. Here's what the fitness court itself looks like. These are city staff working out right there. But the mural part is this side, so this entire side will be wrapped along with the side of the bio right here. Okay, Hutton parking lot mural. We're also helping a private property owner with their call for murals. They are looking for one artist or artist team to paint a mural on the side of their 7-story parking lot that can be visible from the southbound 55 freeway. Their stipend is $30,000, inclusive of all artist costs, including artist fees, supplies, machinery, insurance, etc. The deadline for online submission is April 23rd. And this one, the city is not managing at all, this call. This is completely a private entity. And finally, the Public Works water poster contest, which Nabil actually introduced me to, this wonderful contest. Thank you to Chair Gutierrez and Vice Chair McNair for volunteering to judge this year's Public Works annual poster contest. The supervisor for the program, Robert, thought you were excellent judges and was very appreciative of your great ideas for next year's contest. Thank you also to Commissioner Vu and Commissioner Olivares for volunteering to be alternate judges. But these were the winners from 2 years ago. So they're wonderful, and we're actually having them they're wrapping 5 utility boxes with some of the winners and contestants from the contests around the city. That's it. That's all I have.
Do we have a presentation ready? Are we still somewhere out there, Tram?
Yeah, I think they're still figuring it out.
In a situation that we have a problem, if we extend, let's say 10, 15 minutes, at what point do we table it?
Can someone let Nabil in? I think he's trying to from his office right now. He's in the waiting room, I believe.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry about that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, I'm going to look for my presentation because I am working out of my office now. So give me a moment, please. Yes, let me see. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay, should be launching, and I'm gonna reduce everything, and I'm going to share and say share. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Great. You see a difference?
Yes, you see the difference.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Nabil Saba. I am the director of Public Works. Could you please mute yourself? Again, my name is Nabil. I am the director of Public Works for the city of Santa Ana. And this evening, I have a presentation for you on the South Main Street Public Arts Initiative. As you may know, South Main Street is being worked on, and the community has asked us to incorporate public art in the project. And our plan is to do so. We heard it from the community, but also from our electeds. So my presentation is going to go through what is our plan and how you will be involved in helping us with the public art in this project. Public art contributes significantly to the public identity of a place. Public art can stimulate creativity, imagination, and a unique human quality to the outdoor environment, which you are all aware of. A city rich in art becomes an outdoor culture museum accessible to everyone. Public art enriches the urban landscape and provides a means to express the city's cultural and social heritage. Therefore, we are dedicated to integrating as much art as possible into our community daily life. The purpose of this South Main Public Art Initiative is to outline the potential and specific opportunities and guidelines for artists to participate in the project, as well as general procedures to submit proposals and artist qualifications for consideration. The goal, our goal is for South Main Public Initiative our goals is the following. So, to bring art to the environment and the life of Santa Ana, to enrich the lives of Santa Ana residents by the exposure of arts in various forms on their daily commute. And it is to encourage both emerging and establishing artists living and working in Santa Ana by supporting, purchasing, and displaying their art. And to integrate artists into the city's design process. We have few opportunities in this project for art or public art. The city has identified 2.5 mile project area along South Main Street between First Street and Dyer Road for a variety of public arts projects. 2 focus areas established by the city vision plan are North Focus area, First Street to Chestnut, and focus area 2 is from Standard Street to San Andrew. This is the area, or this is the entire project. The red line is the main street. Those areas, this area here, are what we call the focus area. So in the focus area, we would probably emphasize more public art than the rest of the project, but we are welcoming public art throughout the project. So the potential art installation and locations, we have few locations that we're looking for public arts to be installed or put in. Main and Pine parking lot. That's the parking lot that is on that corner. Right now, the city operates that parking lot as just a parking lot. So we're looking at ideas to put all in around the area of that parking lot. It's open space, but we'd like to preserve it as a surface parking, but also in the perimeter of it, we are welcoming art opportunities. These are some pictures of the parking lot itself. As you can see, it needs some TLC, but also I think if we bring some art to it, it will make it a little bit more vibrant and welcoming. Area B is the area on Main and McFadden landscape area. And that's the green area that you see on the corner of McFadden and Main. The city owns that lot, and this is how it looks like from pictures. And there is a bus stop that borders that area, as you can see from the last picture. So there is opportunities in the green area for us to install some public art. So. We also have the Main Street median strip fencing. Not sure if you know, there is a fencing in that landscape area in the median, and I'll show you a picture of it. So this is the fencing, and we are welcoming art there. So there is opportunity. It's right across from a school, I believe. So there is an opportunity there for artists to display their work. Types of art, installations. We're open for almost all kinds of art, like sculptures, painting, graphic arts, mosaics, photography, crafts, mixed media, environmental works, time-based work, digital works, and any new and emerging forms of art. So we are open, we're not limited, but I'll show you what our restrictions in coming up. So bus shelters, we are replacing the bus shelters along the project. We will have an opportunity where posters or graphics that can be installed on the backing of the bus shelter itself. So the existing bus shelters will be replaced with a new design, and the new design will have a backing that we can display either posters or something of 4x4 design is tentative. That's the size, but we're welcoming art there. Things like what we see here, bike racks in the front of or next to a bus stop or a business. There is criteria for the bike racks in terms of design. The artist bike rack or bike rack integrated with other elements should follow the city recommendations. The bike rack should accommodate 2 to 4 bikes total, and maybe up to 6 feet long and 2 feet wide. We also have opportunities on the sidewalk itself. As you can see, those are ideas that can be used, and we welcome those kind of art. We do have a lengthy sidewalk, 2.5 miles of it, so the opportunity is there. We're not replacing all sidewalk, by the way, in the entire stretch of the project, but we're open for enhancement. The sidewalk need to be embedded or stamped, or the art needs to be embedded or stamped in concrete. The art must be limited to the width of the sidewalk and doesn't overspill on the curb or private property. The art is not allowed in front of bus loading and unloading area, just safety type precautions. Paving material should not pose tripping hazards or cause excessive vibration for wheelchairs. Then we also have the median fencing. We're open for some kind of a sheet metal art that looks like this to be installed, and the size or the design must not impede the visibility. So we're open for ideas. The art should be both-sided, covered with anti-graffiti coating. Sculptures, as you can see here, in the parkways, we're open for those ideas. The size should not exceed 4x4 by 6 type size, width, depth, and height. We also have the opportunity of pedestrian crossing, like what you see here. We can really entertain these kind of designs in the crossing, in the focus areas. So, there is also restriction on the kind of paint that we use. The application of a special paving in crosswalk should consider wear and tear caused by vehicle crossing the paving and requires additional capital and maintenance funding. The paving should be designed and installed and maintained in the desired visual and texture appearance. So special paving is not a substitute for standard or high visibility reflective crosswalk marking. A standard 12-inch traverses lines should still be used outside the decorative crosswalk treatment to establish a marked crosswalk. So we need to really know where the crosswalk is, We also open for ideas in the banners, these kind of banners, sheet metal art, like you see here. The design would be cut into weatherproofing material. So we're open to hanging some of these ideas or Picado's banners. So we also are considering, and we will be welcoming South Main Street history QR signs, like you see here. The art must be limited to the width of the sidewalk and doesn't overspill on the curb again. Art is not allowed in front of bus loading and unloading area. Paving material should not pose a tripping hazard or cause excessive vibration on wheelchairs. So these are great ideas, the city or the artist or the association that would like to share information about the city history and such. You could use that QR features to educate the pedestrians on the history of Santa Ana, Main Street, and so forth. We have made contact already with the Santa Ana Early Learning Initiative. Dr. Andreas Bastamente from UCI School of Education met with us, and they will be submitting ideas for the project. So we'll be considering their submittals too. And they will also be asked to obey the same type of restrictions and ideas that we have here. A request for proposals, we would like to ask the artist to provide us with to scale renderings of the proposed artistic enhancement, the location and the orientation of the art, a written description and or a sample of the material to be used, and written substantiation of their appropriateness, a timeline for the design, the fabrication, and the installation of the art, a written budget for all project costs, a brief written narrative describing the concept, the theme, and the intent of the proposal, and the basic qualifications of the artist and their resume. This concludes my presentation, and I'm open for any questions you may have. And I'm going to stop sharing if you don't mind.
I have one brief question.
Sure.
You know, South Main has a very specific history in the city of Santa Ana. You mentioned, for instance, one of the projects will be off of a school, Lathrop Middle School, or intermediate school. And I'm just curious if you have made any outreach. You know, IUCI is wonderful, but any outreach to the organizations that historically have prospered on Main Street, South Main, so that these are not just any kind of art, but they're really art that's tied to the history of this area.
Great question, and that's why we are meeting. It's your duties to reach out. Yes, that, you know, you are the artist, you have the connection with artists in the city, and I don't. I am an engineer in public works, and we need your help. So it is on you to solicit the school district, solicit a local artist, anyone you think that is qualified to provide us with art. That's on you.
I have a question to Bill.
Sure.
Are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Okay, once the proposal is given to you, let's say you get a proposal for a particular area and the art is submitted, are we going to play a role in deciding which piece of art is going to submit it? Who is going to decide which piece of art is going to be the one that's going to be approved?
Another great question. The art will be submitted to you. You're going to talk about it like you did tonight. And if you like the artist, you like the concept, you forward that to Tramlee. Tramlee will give it to us. We will look at it. We'll see what the cost will be, the feasibility of the proposal, the safety aspects of implementation of the proposal itself, cost, and then we will see if it's if we can build it or have the artist build it and install it. So it will be on you to do that selection initially. You do the screening. You do, you know, like Barbara mentioned, is Main Street has a lot of history. It's for you to decide what's appropriate for Main Street. I don't know what's appropriate. It's your job to do it.
Let me ask you another question. Everything takes money. What kind of budget do we have on this project?
We have some contingency monies. We don't have a specific project allocation or funds allocated to the art, but we would look at what the proposals as they come in one by one, and if we have contingency money to build these things, we will. If we don't have money at this point of construction, we would save the concept, the idea, when funds become available, and we will build it. But we have some, so we're excited about it, and there is some funds. We don't have an exact amount. Council did not ask us to allocate, and we don't have really funds specifically for public art, but we're relying on the efficiency of the project itself, where we would save on some aspects of the construction to allow us to build some of these art ideas.
A third question, are we going to end up building the same construction we have on Bristol for bikes at one point down Main? Because that would be interesting in the integration of the art and the walkability and the bike and the transportation aspect, a vision that we have for Main?
You know, there is a vision plan for Main. There is construction. There is some enhancement on the walkability, on the focus areas. There is stamped concrete already. There is new bus shelters. There is new lights. There is sewer and water improvements. So the project is comprehensive. I don't think there is a bike lane like the Bristol project, but and we're not acquiring any properties. The dimensions of the street itself is not going to change, but we will fix a lot of the sidewalks, paving, and a lot of intersections in the focus area, and some planting and median improvements.
I have two questions.
Who's asking the question?
That was me, Commissioner Vu.
Hi.
My first question is, and I'm sorry if I missed this, is there a deadline for this?
There is no deadline, but we would, I will communicate on a deadline with Tramlee, but we would like to, we are developing a guidelines and written guidelines so we can share with the artists. We also have an application that they need to fill or complete. We are working on that. So those two things are coming, and we will make those available to you to share with the local artists. So.
Thank you. And the other question I had was that, Nabil, you mentioned that it would be amongst the commissioners to discuss and decide which proposals we would want to move forward with, and then send that to Tram to send to you. Is there any way we could get a community public input on this? Because like Commissioner Russell was saying, like, this is a historic place. How do we get the people of Santa Ana to be able to voice their opinions? Like, we are only 7 people within the city, and there's so many other people who would love to give their input also.
Sure. You are 7 powerful people. So I defer to you to reach out to the artists in Santa Ana. Like I said, we don't have the mechanism to reach out to this creative and very talented group of individuals in Santa Ana, and that's why we're coming to you for help. So Tram can tell us what resources she needs. If we have those resources to reach out to artists, we may be able to help in spreading the word and the interest. But again, the task is yours to select the art pieces.
I would challenge every commissioner to go after their own district, their own space, and reach out. That way we all have our job. If you want something to pull in from Ward 6, I'll pull it in. If you have something from Ward 2, 4, 1, let it be. Okay, so that's our responsibility in a certain way. So we have to go out there and do a little more homework and pull those resources in. And hopefully it come back to Tram. And I don't know, Tram, if we're just gonna make a decision at that point as 7 people, I mean, as the commission, or are we gonna do an ad hoc committee that's gonna be focused in that?
Yeah, I don't think you guys need an ad hoc committee. The decision needs to be done by the entire commission, unless Tramlee thinks otherwise. But I think you won't be able to spend too much time on the selection. We really like the time frame. Yes, the project has not started in construction, but we still need fabrication ideas, and we need to reach out to our contractor to see if he would be able to build, install, or whatever to do with the art that you're proposing. So I encourage you to act quick and make quick decisions on what you like to see.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you for that presentation, Nabil. Appreciate it. And yeah, at the end of the day, why we were chosen by our council members and myself by our mayor is because, we have large networks, and, around the art and culture. So, I know I do, and I know folks here as well. So, now that I know this, and I really like a lot of these ideas that you had forward, and I appreciate, all the research that you did putting this together, but now it behooves, and it's upon us to kind of, put the word out there, blast it out through our social media, every which way, so that we can get this moving.
Awesome.
And I don't think we need an ad hoc committee, and I think there's
by
we
the
don't have to
way,
do that for every single thing. The last thing, yes, but this thing, no.
I failed to introduce Sean Thomas, our senior engineer on the project. Sean, did I miss anything?
No, you pretty much you covered everything. So looking forward to, we have like as Nabeel mentioned, we have draft guidelines that we're probably at 95% complete. So that guidelines will have the dates that we need all the proposals by. And also we'll communicate to you guys kind of the final date where we need the decision by, because as Nabeel mentioned, we have the construction contract out, but they haven't physically started construction yet. We're about to start in the next week or so. But it's a long project, so we need some, we're gonna have time to come up with an idea, but we need to know relatively soon so we can plan. And if we do have leftover money in contingency, we will be able to hopefully use that to implement these ideas.
Yeah, thank you. Tram, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Let me clarify, Sean. So you're saying that the date that you're going to put onto the description is going to be the date that all applications should come in by, right? And then after that date, then the commission will then review all applications at one time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anybody else? Another question? Any other questions? Nabeel?
I don't have any question. I'm looking forward for your participation, and I think you are the perfect group of individuals that it's going to help us improve on the South Main project. I'm looking forward for it. There is a lot of improvements on the street itself. The city is spending, this is one of our biggest construction projects for a long time, $19 million project. So there is a lot of improvements, and I love art, and we want workable ideas from you, but we want decisions to be made quick. And, I would encourage you to drive other cities and like Long Beach and see what they have. And we're open to ideas. But again, like I said, it needs to be safe. It needs to comply with the ADA type, American with Disabilities Act type compliance, code compliance, and not too costly, things of that nature that blends in with the architecture of the city and the South Main business district. I am looking forward for it, and I'm looking for your help on that. Thank you.
Thank you. If we have no other questions, any other questions, thank you for the presentation. And I'm excited about being part of that renovation. I mean, that's a huge investment of $19 million, and definitely it's a responsibility that we're going to be there to give you a hand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night. At this point, we already have staff member comments, so if we're fine, we'll move to commission member comments. Tamara, are we fine?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So any commission member comments? I could start with mine because we have an ad hoc committee that's relative to public art. We have met at least once and twice via Zoom, and we're working on the definition of what the comments that we have. And I think maybe next month we'll sit down again and we'll keep going at it so we can make the recommendations on our behalf. Okay, thank you, Fernando, Josue, working with both of us, the three of us, and Tamara there also. So we're moving forward. We're working on it. Any other comments? Any commissioner comments?
No, not for me.
Nobody? I think we had a long
You mean
meeting.
comments to conclude the night?
Yes, it's the final comments to conclude the night. This is our final. I started with Robin this morning, so I've seen her all day. My God.
Right? We get to open the day and close the day. I would like to just
Yeah.
make a few comments. First of all, I just want to thank all the people that showed up today to share their passion and the things that are going on. I want to encourage people to participate in Imagination Celebration, Dia del Nino, all the things that are starting this weekend. Arts OC that's putting on, and the people in our community that are participating, and there's something including our youth that will be involved. So I want to make sure that to endorse and help encourage people to participate and go. And thank you to all the I'm excited to go to the adjacent possible. I'm looking forward to the contemporary practices and seeing the things that are going out there. And thank you so much to the South Main project. I think it's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can make that happen. I'm a little concerned that there isn't any funding discreetly set aside, and that we're going to have to figure this out on a case-by-case basis if we come in under bid. So I hope that we can find a way to make this really sustainable and manifest this very needed public art and opportunities for our artists in this way. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Any other comments?
Yes, I also have a comment. Chair,
No comments? Okay. I don't see anybody having another comment, so that's
I have a comment, Chair Gutierrez.
Oh, you do? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead and give us a comment. Here you go.
So I want to honestly, very genuinely thank all 11 of the speakers that we had today from the public comments. I want to speak honestly and say that I feel the anger. I feel the mistrust, the distrust and resentment. And I understand Santa Ana is my home and I don't want to see it gentrified. I appreciate all the folks who came out and laid it out for exactly what it is. I completely understand that, like, forcing yourself to be neutral in front of a body that has power is something that some of you have to do. And I hope that rather than this forced neutralization, we can maybe build relationships where this power is disseminated to the people of this community as well, so that they feel like, not only that they feel like, but they do have power to shape it in the future as well. And I just want to really make sure that we remember to honor our places as commissioners, to listen to our community members' voices. And I hope that we really take that into account next week when we really nail the details for this ad hoc committee.
Any other comments? Okay, Deborah, you have a comment, Deborah?
Yeah, I go ahead, Deborah.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I just again want to thank all the speakers. You know, I was reading a little bit on the chat on YouTube. You know, just very lively comment section there. You know, I mean, I'm just happy that folks are engaged in this very important, you know, decisions. You know, when it comes to the art in the city, and no bigger art event that happens on a regular basis like the Art Walk. So, you know, it's something that folks really care about deeply, and it's something that we can really just make our own, and that's really kind of what it feels like the community very much wants. You know, we've been talking about forming an ad hoc for at least one past meeting. Now this one, so I hope that, you know, we can. I will personally put it upon myself to draft some sort of language for a proposal to bring to the group next week, so that next month, so that we can to do that and vote on it and approve it. You know, so yeah, I'm just and last comment is that I guess there was questions about what was happening with Art Walk, and all of a sudden then Downtown Inc. was, you know, slated to have Ryan Smoller present, and so, you know, it kind of, you know, came out of nowhere. You know, so then I guess I feel we're getting trickled down information a little bit, and we're not getting the whole picture on this, even when we've been, you know, making our intentions clear that a majority on the council wants to have an ad hoc committee. So I just would like to, you know, to make sure that we have everything in place next month, so that we can, you know, do, you know, what we need to do, and, you know, make it be as efficient, effective, and as community oriented, so that we can make it what the residents of Santa Ana want it to be. So thank you once again, and all the, you know, the presenters, staff, and fellow commissioners and chair. Thank you.
Deborah?
Yes, and I'd just like to add, Commissioner Hernandez, as you do that, or if you need any help doing that, I think it also is an opportunity for us to sort of define how Art Walk is different from other cities, or you know, our values for Art Walk. I don't think that's ever happened because it has been such an organic event that has evolved. And so I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to define that and celebrate what it is that Art Walk is and how it's different here in Santa Ana.
Any other comments? Seeing that we don't have any comments, we're going to move forward to adjourn the meeting. Tamara, are we? So I call adjournment of the meeting for tonight.
Okay.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here for a couple hours, but that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.